Dillon Brooks is not an outstanding defender. Dillon Brooks is not the defensive player of the year. Dillon Brooks has a defensive rating of 114. That 114 rating puts him outside of the top 10, outside of the top 15, outside of the top 20 for best defensive rating for this season. Dillon Brooks claims that he has LeBron James' number, yet he does not even have a number inside the top 10 for best defensive rating because he's not a great defender. He's not even the top 15th best defender. He's not on this list because he sucks defensively. He sucks so bad, he's almost as bad as the Portland Trail Blazers on defense. Look at how bad Portland is as defenders. The worst defensive rating goes to Anthony Simmons, Jeremy Grant, and Damian Lillard. Maybe Dillon Brooks should join the Portland Trail Blazers just so he can fit in with all that bad to mediocre defense, because he is not a great defender. LeBron James does not need to fear this man, Dillon Brooks, because Dillon Brooks, while he wants you to believe that he is a WCW wrestler athlete, his stats in the NBA would suggest that maybe he should pursue wrestling and stay away from basketball, because he's one of the worst in true shooting percentage. In fact, he's the second worst behind Killian Hayes, and LeBron James killed the Memphis Grizzlies last night. In fact, he didn't even have to do the damage. It was Rui Hachimura and Mr. Reeves doing all that damage because the Memphis Grizzlies were just too easy last night. Easy like Dillon Brooks, wide open. As you can see, he cannot score efficiently. At 49.4% true shooting scoring, second worst behind Killian Hayes. Will the Detroit Pistons take Dillon Brooks in the trade to add to the abysmal true shooting percentage? Would they want Mr. Dillon Brooks on their team? Would the Portland Trail Blazers want Dillon Brooks on their team? Could he help them defensively as the worst defense? But he is blazing a trail for himself as one of the most entertaining villains in WCW, in the NBA. He is entertaining. And that low blow shot to LeBron James in last night's game adds to the villain arc that he has created for himself. Look at the man. He's got kind of like this iced tea look in the face. The way he has his hair braided, it's kind of like these horns kind of give him kind of like a demonic look, right? He's got mic skills. That's something that lacked in WCW for a very long time. He's got mic skills. He could join the WWE. He could join the WWE. He could definitely get on that train. I saw Dwight Howard. He auditioned for the WWE. He would also be a great character in there. And the thing is that Dillon Brooks can shoot the three about as well as Dwight Howard can in China. Okay? Dillon Brooks needs to switch roles and pursue wrestling because his mic skills are on point. The villain character that he created is on point. His true shooting percentage is not on point. His defense is not on point. Dillon Brooks, I'm rooting for the guy actually because I like the gimmick. I like this villain arc that he's created. You know, this image that he's created for himself. I love the energy. We need that. But Dillon Brooks, last night's game was boring. I tuned in because I wanted to see Dillon Brooks give LeBron James and the Lakers that work. And I was on the live streams on YouTube and everybody, we were all talking about Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks' name came up so much last night. Dillon Brooks' name has been coming up all week. So he's got our attention. But now he needs to keep it. Now he really needs to do something in this next game, in game 4. Like I said, he maintained the villain arc with the low blow to LeBron James and exited the game early, keeping that mystique going and the feud that he's trying to create going, right? Like, Dillon Brooks still has some villain momentum, but it can wear out very quickly if Dillon Brooks does not deliver in game 4. Now, we all thought that Dillon Brooks was going to get suspended for game 4. And that actually would have worked in Dillon Brooks' favor as the villain. Because in order to be a successful villain, like, you actually have to be a threat, right? You have to be a threat to be a successful villain. And Dillon Brooks definitely has villain momentum. He does. I mean, we're all talking about him. Like, his character is intriguing. But that villain momentum has to be maintained with some type of effort on the court that justifies the villainy. You get me, right? So now that he's not suspended and he will have to play in game 4, he's going to have to do something. And really at this point, the shooting is not even part of the character anymore. He wants to be known as a defender, so he's really going to have to lean into that. He's really going to have to tap into that Dennis Rodman, Meta World Peace, Ron Artest bag. You know what I'm saying? He's really going to have to continue to operate with a screw loose and just channel that energy. Just watch film on all of that and just be crazy in game 4. To keep the villain momentum going, because if he does not transform into the defender that he wants us to believe that he is, then his 15 minutes of fame will end on game 4. He will no longer be talked about because he will not have lived up to the hype that he's created for himself as a villain. So I'm sorry, Dillon Brooks, that the NBA did not bail you out and suspend you, because I feel like that's what Dillon Brooks wanted to save face. He was hoping the NBA would suspend him so he could just leave on a high note as a villain, right? By blowing LeBron James, and you know, it would be a whole what if scenario. You know, like, we never got to see him lock down LeBron James. We never got to see if LeBron James could knock down 40 on him. Of course, we know he can, but, you know, still for the whole storyline, right? Now that he's going to be in game 4, that gives the opportunity for LeBron James to humiliate him even further, extinguishing his whole villain momentum and relegating him back to a nobody, like the stats suggest. So, Dillon Brooks, I would advise you in this time that you have to really channel as much Dennis Rodman, Ron Artest energy as you can. mix in some Bill Laimbeer in there, and just play like your life depends on it, like you're Matthew Dellavedova defending Steph Curry, and just play like that to where you have to end up going to the hospital. You overexerted yourself on defense. That's how you need to play. That's how you need to play to keep up this momentum that you have as a villain. Because I'm rooting for you as a villain. I want you to be that. The NBA needs that. I don't believe that the Memphis Grizzlies are going to beat the Lakers. So your season's probably going to end soon. And that's going to give you the whole offseason to continue to build up the momentum as this villain. So come next season, you'll be in final form. You'll be in final form, and you'll switch from being a 3-point specialist, which you never were, according to the true shooting, obviously. But you will switch from that archetype to lockdown defender archetype. You have the whole offseason to prepare for that, because the Lakers are going to eliminate you. Go Lakers. Talk to talk to whoever, man, this season. Talk to whoever this season and try to fit. Talk to Lonzo Ball. He's a great defender. He don't look like he's ever going to play again. Hook up with him to get that light skin energy going. Reach out to homeboy and get some tips from him. Tap into that whole momentum and get some more tattoos. To really get that look going. But yeah, bro. Dillon Brooks ain't it, according to the numbers. But gimmick-wise, I feel you, bro. You're doing it on that end. And you're right for barking up the king's tree and going after the king. That you should do that. That's going to draw attention to you. But now you got to deliver on the actual floor. To keep the momentum going. Otherwise, you're just going to be a blip on the radar in LeBron James' last dance and his 30 for 30. Ashe, ashe.